When I was 8 years old, I remember being in India, being in Mumbai, and I was in this apartment that was my grandfather and grandmother's apartment. It was about the size of 2 rooms. Imagine your one-bedroom apartment, your typical one-bedroom apartment with a living room and a bedroom. In that apartment, there were about 16 people staying and sleeping. My mom is one of 10 brothers and sisters. And I was traveling to India. It was part of these every other year sojourns that I would take over the summer. And I would go to India for the summer, and I'd spend 2-3 months in Bombay, in Mumbai. And I remember being in the apartment, and it was dinner time. And my grandfather, as always, would be there with his thali, right? The sort of wide-edged and rimmed, round, circular thali. He'd be eating his dal and eating his rice, scooping it all up with his fingers, and I'd watch him, because he was magical to watch. And he would get every grain of rice into his mouth. And he did it with such grace. And at the end of the meal, he would take the water, because we only had running water for a couple of hours in the morning, and we had running water for a couple of hours in the evening. And so at the end of the meal, he would take the water, and he would rub the water into the thali and wipe it around, and wash it down with his fingers, not even soap, and he would drink the water from the thali. And I was 8 years old or so. And then I went back to New Jersey, where this physical body was entered into the world. And I came into New Jersey, and I remember going into my kitchen. I remember opening the refrigerator, and I remember seeing a few different juices and a couple of different types of percentage fat milks. And I was kind of stunned momentarily. I guess it's that culture shock of being really young and realizing that the world is vastly different just an 18-hour plane ride away. And I remember going to school, of course, and being in the cafeteria and watching and seeing and being a part of meals where after half of the plate was eaten, we just toss it into the trash. And I just remember always having this feeling of confusion. Too young to really analyze economic and political systems, but a feeling of confusion, right? How's that possible? You know, I'm up here tonight to speak about ahimsa, to speak about violence. And there's many ways that it's manifested in the world. And the first way that I brought attention to was the economic inequality that I was able to experience firsthand, moving and traveling back and forth my whole life between India and the US. Poverty is one of the greatest obstacles to world peace. The disparity in wealth that exists in the world, it's unfair, it's inhuman, and it's not right. That so few people can possess so much power that some children have no shoes or clothes to wear. And that in so many countries, there's so much excessive waste and lack of consideration. So when I think of violence and ahimsa, one of my initial feelings and sensations moves towards economic justice and solving global poverty. It's the greatest challenge of our time.